going back to when I was 15, a long time ago, I got mixed up with the wrong crowd. I started drinking, going to clubs. One of these nights I went to a club, I met a barman, and he obviously thought I was over the age of 18 because I was in the club that he was working in. So this went on for a couple of weeks. I'd just see him and we'd talk a little bit, we flirted, and then one weekend he come and found me in the club because he wasn't working, and we kind of just went on from there. I eventually told him that I was 15. He was 22. We didn't do anything until I was 16. He was very adamant about that. So when I turned 16, I started going around to his place more often. Every weekend we would have a drink, do things that 16-year-olds shouldn't be doing. I was a baby. I just thought I was all grown. We kind of got pretty serious really quickly. I didn't know I was pregnant. I'd never been pregnant before. I didn't know the signs. I was struggling with an eating disorder back then. I wasn't really eating, and I started eating a little bit more, and my then boyfriend had noticed and thought I was pregnant. I didn't think I was. So I went into the family planning clinic kind of quite cocky, thinking that I'm not pregnant. There's no way I'm going to be pregnant. And I remember just sitting down and she just went, yep, you're pregnant. And then that was it. Didn't offer me any sort of support, didn't warm me up to the idea. She just told me straight away. So as you can imagine, that was really daunting. I felt like I was dreaming. I didn't believe that this was happening to me. I was just so scared. I didn't know what my mum was going to say, what my stepdad was going to say, what any of my family was going to think of me. I was just really embarrassed, ashamed and scared. I'd never done this before. So then I knew that I had to tell my mum at some point, but I kept it to myself for a few days, scared as you would have been at 16. I didn't know how she was going to react. So I finally got the courage to invite her round with my stepdad, and I took her into the bathroom alone, and I just went, Mum, I don't know how to tell you this. And she just said, you're pregnant. I know you're pregnant. I don't know how she knew, but I guess that's just mums. So yeah, that was over and done with. I told my mum and I thought, great, this is going to be easy. I'd never done it before, and I didn't really have much sickness or anything like this, and I just thought it was going to be a stroll in the park. I was wrong. So then when I was about 7 weeks pregnant, very early on, my boyfriend was in the club. He was working, trying to get money for us, save for the baby, and I always used to go to the club after work about 2 AM to meet him afterwards. This night he was acting a little bit different. I smelled alcohol on his breath, and he swore to me he only had one drink, and me being the naive, stupid person that I was back then, I just believed him and went fine. Me, him and 2 of my friends were in a car. He was driving. He was going so fast, and he was going around 100 miles an hour down the motorway. I was crying. I was saying, please slow down, and he didn't. So we eventually was getting closer to home, and we came off of a junction, and there was a roundabout. You're supposed to slow down at roundabouts. He did slightly, but not much. And he went speeding round the roundabout and crashed straight into a bus stop. It all happened really quickly, but in slow motion at the same time. I could hear every little bump and scratch, which sounds really strange. I can't describe it. It was one of the most scariest moments of my life. We were all trying to get out of the car. One of my friends was injured slightly. She bumped her head, and I think we were just all pretty shaken up. So we all got out the car and I turned around and went and asked where my boyfriend was. Don't want to really say any names. And he said, I don't know. And it turns out he just ran away. He didn't want to get caught by the police, because it turns out he'd been caught drink driving several times before. He'd been in prison for it. I didn't know this at the time, and that's why he ran. He left us. I still didn't know any of these charges, so I went back to the flat thinking that he was going to be there. Maybe he was just shook up. And then fast forward a few weeks, me being the naive little girl that I was, I just stayed with him because I loved him and I was having a baby with him and I wanted things to work out. He then gets a court date. We went to court. He was found guilty. He got put in prison for 4 months and I was left on my own, 16, pregnant and scared. But I was so in love with him. I waited for him. I wrote to him every day. He told me he would change, that he loved me and he wanted everything to work and he was going to get a job and we were going to get a house, and he fed me all these lines so that I wouldn't leave him. So fast forward a couple of months, he only done half his sentence because of good behaviour, so he only done the 2 months. Everything was going really well, at least I thought they were. I was madly in love, my baby was growing perfectly, just everything was going right, which it wasn't. So throughout the first and second trimester of my pregnancy, things were quite rough. I didn't really have the support of my stepdad. He just didn't want a newborn baby in his house. He'd had his kids. He didn't want a baby there anymore. So he said at the end of my pregnancy, I'm gonna have to leave, get somewhere to live and not be there when the baby comes. I mean, I think it was quite harsh, but it also pushed me to kind of stand on my own 2 feet. However, it was a long road to get where we ended up. My boyfriend's sister had a house who she'd just rented but hadn't decorated, so there was no furniture or anything in there. She said that she was going to pay my boyfriend money to decorate the house and we could stay in the house until it was decorated and then she could move in. Now we weren't getting the money until he'd finished decorating, so we had no money and we had no furniture, we had nothing to sleep on. So we borrowed a few of the yoga mats and had a few baby blankets, and that's basically what we used in this house. This went on for a couple of months, and now looking back I understand why my boyfriend wanted to stay in that house so bad. His ex-girlfriend lived 5 minutes away and he kept disappearing. He kept saying he was just going to the shop and then he'd come back with the milk, or he was just making arguments so he could go out of the house. I later found out it was because he was going to her house and cheating on me every other day, a lot. But I obviously didn't know this at the time and I was happy. I mean, we were struggling, but I was happy. I had the man I loved. I thought he loved me. We were getting on great, except for the few arguments, but we just put it down to my hormones because I was so narky. One night we had agreed to look after his ex's kids. His kids. And we were just sitting in his ex's house and everything was fine. We watched a movie, we were looking after the kids, and then his ex came back home from the pub with his sister. And I don't even know how this started, but there was an argument over something, I don't know what it was, and I just left. I walked out the front door and I thought, I'm not going to stick around for this. I don't want to be brought into this argument. I don't want to be hit or anything. I'm pregnant. I don't need this. But 5-10 minutes later, my boyfriend came out He was walking quite quickly and his ex-girlfriend came out of the house screaming, crying, and one of the neighbours came out and goes, "What did he do?" And she said, "He's just beat me up." So this neighbour of hers came over and was beating my boyfriend up. The police eventually came and they took my boyfriend to the cell. They brought me with them because they didn't want to leave me in that situation. So they took me and I had to wait in the waiting room of the police station for about 6 hours. All this time my boyfriend was denying that he had touched her. He said he didn't, she was just drunk and trying to cause a scene. Again, me being me, believed him because he'd never got angry like that with me, he'd never touched me. I just didn't see that he was that type of person. It kind of confirmed my thoughts when a few days later his ex-girlfriend dropped the charges. So I was like, well, you were obviously lying and you were drunk and you wanted a bit of attention. So it was probably about 2 weeks until my due date, and me and my boyfriend moved into our first home together. It was brilliant. Things were going well. We were in love, we were laughing and joking, we were getting the baby's room ready, I was just so excited and felt so blessed that this was going to be my life. I was going to have a beautiful baby boy and I was just so excited to see where my life was going to take me. So fast forward a couple of weeks and I went to bed probably about 10 p.m. and I fell straight asleep, didn't have any pains or anything like that. It was just a normal night. And about 2 in the morning I woke up and I was in so much pain. I got up and the first thing I did was run a bath because I remember my mum saying that baths helped. But she says baths help for everything. Bath and a cup of tea, sort you right out. So my boyfriend had noticed the signs and goes, "Yes, you're in labour." He phoned my mum. My mum came with my stepdad and took me to hospital. I won't go too much into detail about the birth because I want to save that for a different video because I think that one was going to be pretty long. A lot went on. So I was in labour for about 12 hours. My boyfriend was absolutely rubbish. He was tired, bless him. He had to go to sleep. I couldn't eat, so he sat and ate McDonald's in front of me. He was just really unsupportive. 12 hours went by. I had the baby. I had my beautiful baby Josh. It was hard, but for a first time mum being 16, I thought I'd done pretty well. I had him out within 10 minutes of pushing. I was kept in hospital for a few days. They were worried about my blood clotting and I was put on injections, which I had to inject into my tummy, which was not nice. But after all that, I took the baby home. Everything was going smoothly, but they had a few bumps because, I mean, I had a newborn baby and I was a kid and in a serious relationship with a house to look after, and I was really, really overwhelmed by it all. So a couple of months goes by and me and my boyfriend were having a lot more arguments. It seemed like every Friday he was making an argument and then leaving and going to stay in his cousin's house. Again, I found out after we broke up that he was going to his cousin's house because there was a girl that used to go there that he used to hook up with. So one day when he said, "Fine, I'm going to my cousin's, I can't be in this argument anymore," he left. And he thought he could just come back again on the Monday, and he called me and goes, "I'm coming home." And I said, "No, you're not. No, you're not." And he was crying on the phone, begging for me to take him back. But at this point I'd completely had enough of him and I just thought, I'm doing this practically on my own anyway, so I may as well just get rid of him and actually do this on my own and give this a go. So yeah, a lot of things happened. I think he just moved on, got with somebody else. I think he had a kid with her, and then he went back to his ex and had another kid with her. Meanwhile, I was getting my life together. I met someone new, and he was amazing. I moved on with my life, he moved on with his life, and we're actually talking these days, and we are cordial. We've got a child together. We have to do the right thing by our son. I'm glad we're able to talk, because there is other parents that go through things like that and will not talk to each other at all. So I'm glad we have that. Now Josh is just turned 14. A long time ago he was born, and he's happy, healthy, in high school and loving his life. And I'm now in college doing a hair and media and makeup course, which I'm absolutely loving. I went on to have more children. I had 3 more children after that, so I've got 4 children. I've got Josh, who's 14, Callie, a girl, who is 10. I've got Kai, who's just turned 4, and Cody, who's just going to be turning 3 in March. So it's a pretty hectic house, but I wouldn't have it any other way. That's pretty much my video for today, guys. I'm sorry if it was a little bit all over the place. I've just never done one of these things before, so I don't have a clue what I'm doing. So you have to learn, don't you? You have to start somewhere. I also apologise about my hair. I'm very aware of what it looks like. It's because I bleach it so much, so it's just all snapped, and that looks gross. I'm also aware that through the video that my eyelashes kept sticking together because the glue had gone in my eye. So that pretty much sums it up. There are other aspects of my life that I will go into detail on a later date, but for now I think that's it for my 16 and pregnant video. I'm sorry if I bored you to death, but what you can expect from my channel, I'm going to be doing vlogs. I'm not too sure if I'm going to be doing daily because of my schedule and having so many children, so it's kind of going to be probably a little bit inconsistent at first, trying to get my foot in. So yeah, I'll be doing vlogs. I will be doing makeup tutorials. I'll be doing challenges probably with my kids. I'll probably just branch out into a lot of different things. Just have a sit down and chat with people. It's just doing things that I love, and I really want to document my children as they're growing up in my life. I want to be able to look back at all the memories. I watch family vlogs every single day, and I just think to myself how lucky they are to have all this footage of their family growing, the babies growing, the babies' first words, first steps. I just think it's a magical thing to have, and to have their support and network on YouTube, I think is something that can't be taken away from them. And I just aspire to be as humble, caring and honest as I can with you. I hope to see you back again. If not, I am sorry that I really bored you. I think that wraps it up for today. If you could give me a like and subscribe to my channel, that would be amazing. It just lets me know that people are actually seeing it and people like what I'm doing, and I should carry on. So thank you very much for watching. If you've got this far, thank you so much. It means a lot, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.